Do you buy in a company? Do you buy in a personal name? Which do you do? When do you do it? And how do you get it done? Caveat to this, I have no qualifications whatsoever in finance or giving financial advice, unlike today's video sponsor, Get Ground, and I'll be talking a lot more about them as we go through the video. People invest in property for a multitude of reasons. It could be legacy, looking to be financially free, maybe just trying to get a bit of money from the money that we've worked so hard from, but a key component is the risk, access to capital, and of course the tax on the property itself, because it's all very well and good making money, but how about we want to keep some of it as well? Thank you, government. Back before 2015, pretty much every landlord had their portfolio in their personal names unless they were massive. And the reason for this is pretty much everything was tax deductible. You had great access to capital, your furniture could depreciate over time, so that was tax deductible, and all of your interest was. And then, of course, the good old government, G-Dog as I like to say, completely changed everything and kind of screwed us over a little bit and got us thinking, well, maybe there are other structures to take account of. 2015 came and it was officially announced that within 4 years, the mortgage interest would no longer be tax deductible, and in fact, a 20% deduction or relief would be applied to all mortgage interest. Essentially, this is kind of like saying, hey, by the way, I'm no longer going to consider a cost of capital as a genuine factor of business, which is fucking ridiculous, by the way. And in a limited company and an LLP and any other corporate structure in any other business ever in the UK, it is a legitimate cost. No shit, Sherlock. But for some reason in our personal name, no, we're not going to do that. And we can all have an opinion on it, but ultimately kind of screwing the small guy, right? So let's go through some pros and cons, starting with mortgages. Mortgages or debt is how we actually leverage on property. Now, you might be deciding, actually, I don't care, I want to own everything in cash, but for 99.9% of you, you are going to want to get leverage or some debt or a mortgage on your property. And the reason this is important is what makes property such an amazing investment, or one of the key parts that makes it amazing, is leverage in the first place. And honestly, owning it in your personal name definitely wins that round. The reason for that is the availability of lending in limited company structures. Now, this is getting better and better, but you have to bear in mind, it's only really been announced since 2015 and only really came into play 2018, 2019, that we'd actually want to start buying properties in a limited company in the first place. And so because of this, the supply of lenders is a hell of a lot smaller. We're talking sub 100 compared to over 1,000 in a personal name versus a company name. So because of the lack of supply and the huge demand, it means the lenders can be a little bit funny, if you like, or a little bit restrictive in terms of what they're going to lend on, and of course the increased interest rates. And so technically, owning a property from a mortgage point of view is cheaper owning it in your personal name over a corporate structure. What about actually utilizing the profits in the first place from a tax point of view? Again, not a tax advisor, not financial advice. Well, again, owning it in your personal name, from my experience, wins if you're in the higher income tax bracket. The reason for this is if you're actually going to utilize the funds and you're above a 40% tax bracket anyway, owning it in your personal name is going to be better because you only get taxed once. If you own it in your company name, you've got two ways of doing this. Either you pay yourself as an employee, or you pay yourself as a business owner. So if you're going to pay yourself as an employee, you're going to pay your national insurance, which is another income tax, by the way, but that's a video for another time. And then you're going to pay your tax as normal anyway. So there's no real benefit at all. On the other side, if you're going to pay yourself as a business owner, you've also got corporation tax. Now, currently, corporation tax is 19%, but there are talks, and really it's down to who's voted in as our next prime minister, by the way, but it is likely to go up to 25% by next year. But that is only if you're earning $250,000 or more, so you're probably okay paying a little bit more. If you are a basic income taxpayer, then often, in my experience, owning it in a limited company is a lot better because you can actually just pay corporation tax and then dividend tax. For the first £2,000, there is no dividend tax, or there is, but it's rated 0. And then everything after that is at 7.5% if you're at the basic income tax. And it's 32.5% if you're in that higher income tax bracket. So that's really going to depend on your situation. But if you're actually looking to utilize your profits and you're in that higher income tax bracket, then it's probably better owning it in your personal name if that's something you need to utilize. But what about the situation if you don't need to utilize it and really you're just looking to build up that nest egg to carry on reinvesting in the first place? Well, this is very much the same argument. Now, on the personal side, you've got what, 12,520 quid, something like that, where there's no income tax whatsoever, or there is, but it's 0 rated. Between 12,500 and 50,001 pounds, it's 20%. After that, 50 to 150, you're at 40%, and then you've got the additional tax rate above 150, which is 45% tax. Imagine getting 45% tax, motherfuckers. On the other side is the limited company, and this is just currently a flat rate of 19%. The great thing with this is actually it is only on profits, and you're able to fully deduct every single expense, including driving to and from your property, from the revenue until you get your profit. You can also live quite a lot of your life through the company, which I'll get to momentarily, to make sure you are reducing your profits on the company. Now, as I said, 19% is obviously a hell of a lot better than 20%, 40%, or indeed 45%. Now, please note that that is going all the way up to 25%, dependent on the vote, if you are earning over $250,000 or more per annum in profit. But ultimately, if you're looking to store the money, looking from a protection point of view, then owning it in your limited company is going to be better, in my opinion. The final one that I want to finish on is inheritance tax. Now, the government just loves tax. Our country loves tax. If you earn money, you pay tax. If you spend your money, you pay tax. And then on your deathbed, you might go, oh, at least no more tax. Incorrect. On your way out, you're paying tax again. But not as much if you own it in your business. And this is from Business Property Relief. Now, as an individual, you have your allowance with inheritance tax, but after your allowance where you don't pay it, you can end up paying 40% plus as a death tax. Now, you do pay tax by selling a company, but because it's property related and you purchased it within the limited company, you actually get business property relief, which can often get down to 0 or 10% tax. Now, if you're thinking as your property portfolio as a legacy to hand down to your family so they can have an element of financial freedom, this is another reason to consider owning in a limited company. But hey, as I said, I am not a financial advisor and I am not financially qualified, but I tell you who is, and that is today's video sponsor, and that is GetGround. We've actually used GetGround for the last couple of months now, find them an amazing service for start-up property entrepreneurs, and I actually talk to every single one of our investors about using them. So if you want to get your limited company set up with specific financial advice, but you want to keep your costs as low as possible, then this is for you. Below in the comments, there's a link to get started with them. There's no obligation whatsoever, but have the initial chat, get set up if it's right for you, and you can mitigate your taxes on an ongoing basis. This is for both UK and international investors, by the way. And as I said, there's no obligation whatsoever, but it's so important that if you're here today and you're looking to scale this portfolio, that you get the right advice and you get the right foundations from day one. So as I said, the link's below, click in there, fill your details, have a chat with somebody from GetGround and get moving from there. Hopefully this has been a valuable video where you've learned more about how to invest in property and where to own the property in the first place. But let me know in the comments, where are you going to own your property, in your personal name or your limited company, and why? If you're new to the channel and you want to find out more about property investment, make sure to hit the subscribe and the notification bell, hit the like on your way out, and I'll see you in the next video.